Well, greetings, world, and greetings, Seven Spot. It's time. It's time, and it is time for another. What shall we call it? We'll call it a such a beauty and what a beast from New Zealand. So let me just bring into the picture because these things are never about me. I am going to bring Rowan Hick into the show because this is a show about Fraser cars. Say hi to us and identify yourself, Rowan.
Hi, Rowan.
Guys and girls around the world. So I'm Rowan Hick,
Oh,
and this is my beast.
okay. Well, we're getting that part out of the way because Rowan's not wearing a headset. And as you can tell, folks, and as he steps closer to his amazing car, he sounds like he's backing into a cave. So now he's going to do the right thing and get behind his camera so we can actually take a look at it. And as we go along, Rowan, I'm just going to ask you a quick question. Well, first off, before we even get into that, I'd like to identify and some of our guest panelists today. We've got, first off, uh, Ida Tristram of Fraser Sports Cars, and she's going to be with us to help fill in some of the blanks because there's a whole host of things that we don't know, and you do know, and you at least speak Fraser, and that's a really good thing.
Hi,
Thank you,
Ida.
Jim. Hello. Thank you for having me.
Well,
Absolutely no problem.
great pleasure. Also, uh, in the show is Carey Marsh, who also is a Fraser owner, and he's got a bit of a story about the backstory on his car. And of course, now we're going to bring in John
I was going
Minion.
to say, Carey, you're in New Zealand, yeah?
Yeah.
My sister lives there. I've got an elder sister. She lives she did live in Christchurch. She's moved about, after the earthquake, she's moved about, I think, 30 miles away, I think she said. So she sends me pictures of the weather over there, and I'm just so jealous at the moment.
Well, I'm just going to bring myself into the picture, or bring the amazing Fraser into the picture, and tell you that it's a dreary and almost damp, dark day in Vancouver, British Columbia. We're looking forward to a high today of a balmy 7 degrees Celsius. Fill in the blanks.
-3 in Evesham here at the moment, and it's
And,
dark,
and
miserable.
please tell us what it's like in New Zealand right now. What are we looking at?
No, don't.
23, sunny.
Yeah, 21 degrees in
Oh, well.
Auckland, sunny.
And at 9 o'clock in the morning, that's lovely.
I was going to say, you're not making my day any better.
If it makes you feel better, there's another tropical cyclone apparently meant to be coming through, which is going to close off where I am trying to move to, into the Coromandel. The roads will be shut again.
Don't talk about these things. Don't talk about these things.
So we are looking at the most amazing car that I have had the opportunity to look at in pictures in quite some time. Could you please tell us a bit about how you came to own it, Rowan, and tell me about some of the goodies you've got in it?
Sure. All right. Yeah, that's high praise. Okay, so this is a Fraser Cars special edition. It was 99.99% built by the Fraser factory. I think I did some token riveting, but that was about it. So it started off, I think, about 2011, 2012, visited the factory because I decided I was going to move home to New Zealand from Canada. Fraser Cars located in Auckland, and I'd wanted one since I was a little boy. So commissioned the car and went a little bit overboard.
Is there such a thing, Rowan?
I was going to say, we all end up doing that. I had to hide car parts from my missus.
Yep. So I had a history of forced induction cars, being a young lad, like my turbo cars.
Is that like turbo or ram air or?
Yeah, so this is actually a supercharged Honda.
Supercharged.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we'll pull the bonnet off in a second.
Yeah, well, look at that. Is that the K20?
Yes, it's proper. Fraser Cars had an actual K20 from, I think it was Integra, DC Type R, sitting in their factory. That was an abandoned project many years ago, and I was like, right, well, that sounds good.
Yeah.
So
strong engines, really strong engines.
Very strong engines.
A fairly tall engine too, and it's not sitting proud of the bonnet, and that's amazing.
Yeah, well, we'll show some of the tricks of how it managed to fit.
Yeah, definitely.
What you can't see on camera is how low the car is. It's actually got a consumable item, which is the skid plate. Gets replaced every 4 or 5 years. So, yeah, Scott
short and sump. We'll come on to it, but yeah, short and sump and the usual.
Yeah, it was dry sumped and
dry sump. Yeah.
Dry sumped and a couple other tricks, which we'll show when we pull the bonnet off.
We definitely, definitely show us under the bonnet before you go.
yeah. Don't worry. We've got time. We're only 3 minutes in. So Scott and Ida on the call, own Fraser Cars, and I had many backwards and forwards phone calls with Scott about the engine from Canada. And he talked me into doing a supercharged engine because of the linearity of the throttle response. It basically takes.
If you go turbo route, you can get quite a bit of lag. It depends what injectors you're running and velocity stacks and blah blah blah. But the supercharger is definitely the way forward.
Yeah. So I've been in. Actually, subsequent to getting this built, I went in 3S GTE Fraser, which had a turbo on it, and they roughly put out the same power figures, but the delivery is completely different.
Yeah,
and
so quite a flatter power curve as well. Whereas turbo, boom, it's certainly boom, it's off.
You're on.
Supercharge is a lot smoother.
Yeah, and you'll see that on the dyno graph actually through in the 7-spot group. So you can see it sort of climbs to the moon. Basically, from about 1900, 2000, you can just put your foot down and she starts going, and going and going and going all the way to
nice smooth delivery. Yeah,
I think the red line's at 7,600 RPM, just to be safe. Because we never changed the compression on it, so it's running either 11.2 or 11.5 to 1. So
that's obviously higher than standard, yeah.
No, that's a standard Type R engine is a high compression engine, and then with Roadtrax, so we use what's called a C3094, which is the designation of the Roadtrax superchargers. So they've got 3 or 4 different sizes, and it's the baby one.
Yeah.
And even a baby one, it puts out 10.5 pounds of boost at redline. So there's a lot going on in there. I think we were almost all surprised at how much power it did end up putting out at 330-ish at the wheels.
330 at the wheels. Wow.
Yeah.
It equates to about, depending on whose calculations you take, about 375 at the crank. And the car weighs, and we actually weighed it the other day down here. We've got mates at the workshop, so we put it on some corner scales, and it's 675 kilos just straight off the road.
That is going to fly. Well, you know it does. That would. Yeah, I would end up putting it through a hedge. My driving skills are okay. I think on our car, we're about 362 brake horsepower per ton at the rear. And that's enough for me. With my driving skills, that's enough for me. But that is really going to go.
Yeah. So, so what I'll do is I'll take the bonnet off and we'll go and have a bit of a talk around all the bits. Because it's not just the engine, although the headlining thing is the engine. And it is a spectacular build.
It does look stunning, and I like it in that colour as well.
Fabulous
Yeah,
car.
it's a beautiful colour. Yeah. I think the great thing about these cars, although they go and go and go, they also stop equally fast. So yeah, which is great. So their response to going, to stopping, to steering is just fabulous. So I think that's what
I've
makes
also
them so
found,
much fun.
we've got quite a small steering wheel on ours as well, but slightest little thing, whoa, you know, it just goes. You know, there's no weight, there's no inertia in it. It's just absolutely fantastic.
The first time I drove mine, it was a bit scary. It felt like you're driving on marbles or ice all the time, and you just sort of think left or think. It was like the closest thing to being on a motorbike. It's just a four-wheel motorbike.
That's right. Yeah.
You
have to drive them like that anyway.
Yeah,
I've
let
the
my son
good
drive
thing is
ours,
the cornering.
I've actually been out on the road. I can't get him insurance until he's 25 or 23, which he will be this year. But on a private track, and I just said, yeah, go for it, be sensible. I said, but don't overreact to the steering, that the car will find its own way down the road. Ours, like yours, was all over the place on the front end when we got it. And it's because they'd put 30 pounds pressure in the front tyres. So we've lining, going everywhere. So we've dropped that down. We've been as low as 12. I think we're now running about 16 PSI, something like that, in the all round in the tyres. But it made one hell of a difference.
That's good. They corner so well; it's incredible. I went for a run with another group of friends. They've all got Cobras, and we were driving fairly briskly on roads that are now you're only allowed to do 80 k's, but we're doing well above that. And when we got to the pub, they said, "Oh, your brake lights aren't working." I said, "Oh no, I'm sure they're fine. Everything's good. It's only no, your brake lights aren't working." So I got in, pressed the pedal, brake lights are working. Just at the speed that we were going, I didn't need to use the brakes, but all the Cobras were. And the funny thing is, there was a Porsche and a Ferrari, and they were quite annoyed that I wasn't using brakes and they were.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the thing, I think, because the sevens are so light. I've not ever changed my pads or the discs. I think they'll outlast me.
Oh wow!
Hope
you're checking them.
You just don't use brakes.
I mean, to be fair, we've not done a track day or anything like that. So it's not had massive use. But just on road use, you're right. You don't need the brakes.
Missing out on all the fun, not going on a track.
I am looking at it mainly from my son. Until as I say, I can't get them insurance on the road in the UK. It depends which track day we're going to go on, because you don't know who's there. I'd be a complete novice. Do you know what I mean? And I don't want to be crashing into people or do you know what I mean? So it's something we're looking at.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm going to jump in and ask a question. It's something I asked before we got going, but the exhaust pipes that you've got there, I've got glass. Mine are glass powder or glass coated. Are those glass coated as well?
It's a ceramic coat.
Wrap on the headers.
Yeah, so part of and I'll explain all this that's going on in here. Yeah, so these are what's called HPC, which is a local supplier of ceramic coatings. It's their own particular type of coating. It's not a ceramic. It's just their standard high temp coating. And it doesn't really withstand the heat of what's coming out of here. So being a supercharged engine, you're effectively, I don't know, 2/3 more air volume that's coming out. And it's not cooling down anywhere. So that got super hot. And we ended up the alternator. So basically, I'll just you have to know the whole story. So under there is the supercharger. You can't quite see it. It's pretty small. And it runs up through this into the charge cooler. And so that's water to air charge cooler. So we've got 2 radiators double stacked in here. So I
noticed those on the front. Yeah. Yeah.
So the first one for the cooling, second one for the charge cooler. Because of, and this car has been all about hip bone and leg bone problems. So hip bone's connected to the leg bone, and then you get this other problem, this other problem, this other problem. So because of the Rotrex going down there, that's normally where the alternators sit on these engines.
You had to swap
We
that
had to move
side,
the alternator over, but it was too big, so we threw on a tiny little alternator.
Yep.
And also the water pump outlets down in there. So we had to ditch the water pump. So we've got an electric Davies water pump under there.
Sure. Yeah.
And then because the alternator is so close to number one, and you can see now this wasn't here originally. We went through 2 or 3 alternators at racetrack because basically, once you're on the back straight and the heat's coming off here, it was killing the alternators. But this one's lasted now for, I don't know, what are we, 8 years, 9 years? So that's a good one.
Yeah.
And of course so you're right, Jim, the engines, the K20s are super tall. And if you're very astute and you know what a K20 looks like, you'll notice there's something missing here.
Yeah.
Normally there's an oil filler cap. But because we're dry sumps, we don't need that.
Because of the dry sump, yeah.
Yeah. So the cam cover is actually 15 or 20 mil shorter. So the factory shortened the cam cover, re-welded it all.
That's how you managed to squeeze it under the bonnet. Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
So the exhaust system, because you all like to talk about the exhaust system. So we started. That's not the original.
Is that 4 into 2 into 1? Or is it, sorry, I didn't.
It's a 4 into 1.
4 into 1, yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
And then there's been a bit of an evolution of silencers. So the first one, I think, after the first racetrack outing, it burnt all the packing out. So it was at 4,500 at a static noise test. It was 120 decibels.
Wow! Oh, you will not get away with that in any UK track.
No. Oops, sorry. We changed over to what's called these Adrenaline R silencers. So they're massive, that's 800 mil, huge. And we're running a 3-inch side exit, which is great fun, but still quite terrifyingly loud. And you get flames out the side, which is awesome. But so we ended up.
An exhaust outlet, is that underneath the car?
Yeah. So just to get
going through to the back.
Yeah, just to get the sound down.
Yeah. Bit like the Caterhams.
Yeah, because literally it's just too loud. It is absolutely too loud, and that's a notorious problem for supercharging one of these engines. Is everybody who's done it talks about how loud they are afterwards. It's just next level.
I was going to say, I guess it's just the whine from it, but then also the induction roar.
No, it's neither.
It's the bleeding ears.
Yeah, so so those superchargers are centrifugal, so they don't actually create much noise. But it's just the sheer, because each exhaust pulse that's coming out of the engine, compared to a normal 2-liter Honda, you're effectively throwing in 2/3 the amount of pressure into that exhaust pulse. So the exhaust pulse itself has got a lot more energy than a normal 2-liter. It's just the sheer volume of the exhaust pulses coming out is what causes the sound. Whereas if you were to go through
way higher, yeah.
So if you were to go through a turbocharger, because of the way the turbos work, the impellers or blades kind of effectively chop up the sound and disperse the sound waves, and they sound a lot more muffled. Superchargers are just ridiculously loud. But it's not all about the engine. Well, it's not all about the engine. So we were talking about handling before.
Yeah.
So if you're very astute, you'll notice there's no
Yep.
shocks there, and that's because it runs.
It's all cantilevered. Look at that. And how the heck
Cantilevered
did you squeeze that all in
inboard
there,
shocks.
Ida? That's amazing.
Cantilevered inboard
Oh, you
shocks,
know.
yeah.
Got to make it look pretty. Got to make it fit.
Yeah. So it's an incredible pushrod design. So the shocks and springs are vertically down in the center.
So the vertical. Okay, yeah.
So it reduces.
Was that your design, or was that from Fraser?
No, that's Fraser's. No, this
Fraser's,
is all
yeah.
Fraser's. This is all Fraser's.
Yeah.
So it's.
I know people have done it themselves, but working out all the angles and getting it right, you've got to know what you're doing. Yeah, but that looks fantastic.
Yeah, and so what that means is it reduces your unsprung weight on the wheels, so the wheels can react faster. So that's very cool. What you can't see, going around to the back, is it's running their Dion setup. So
it is the Dion, okay.
Yeah, so there's your diff in the center. There's a kind of arm behind into these end plates, and they kind of track up and down. So kind of same theory, try to reduce the unsprung weight.
And the tube runs just forward or just aft of the tank.
Yeah, just kind of. I think it's just forward of the tank. So.
Okay. And what limited slip? Have you got a limited slip diff in the back, or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it's running a MX5 LSD, the beefier version, but because, and again, this is a hip bump.
They should be good for the power you're putting out there as well. Yeah. Good diffs.
Yeah. So dry sump tank and surge pots in the back. So we actually run the oil lines up through the center of the car.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other side, in the tank itself, the tank is split in. It's got like a chunk kind of welded off on one side, and that's where the fuel surge system is, the swirl pot. Mm-hmm. So we don't get any fueling issues with it. But what it means is
baffled tank, and then obviously, as you say, a surge pot. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just about enough room for a lunch pail.
Yeah.
Let's go take lunch. Off for a picnic.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of how the boys managed to fit everything in. Is just every ounce of usable space. But by the same token, I didn't want a car that was just so race car that was uncomfortable. So,
well, that's what I was about to say. That interior is unbelievable.
Those seats look nice. We've got fiberglass seats in ours with it's about 5mm padding that we had specially made. But those seats look really comfortable. Ours are okay. Those are not great on a massive long journey, but they look really nice.
And can I ask you a dumb question? I mean, clearly those are suited, tailored to your specific dimensions. Did you have your footwell or your pedal set measured for your own length?
Yeah. So when you get one of these done and you want these particular types of seats, so this is an option that Fraser's do. You go in and you get fitted. So the trimmer sits there.
It's tailor-made. It's tailor-made. Yeah.
Yep. So you've got it for life. You can't sell it. So which is quite a weird thing because you're like, oh, I'm sure this is okay because I'm kind of committing to doing all of this here. But yeah, it worked out really, really well. So the passenger side is a bit squeezed over though, and that depends on the gearbox you use. This uses a Toyota W55, which is super strong. Mm-hmm. I'm hopefully never going to have any gearbox issues. So probably about and with Fraser's you can choose basically whatever you want. You kind of go backwards and forwards and go, okay, well, this is the dash I want, and there's a switch gear, and I'm going to end up.
Your dash layout is very, very tidy. Is that a AIM dash that you're using, or what we call one in the UK, like digital?
Yeah. Although I'm pretty dark on them because these original MXLs actually have some bugs with them, which is quite surprising. So, like my one, the odometer just randomly jumps up 1,000 Ks. So I don't know how many Ks this vehicle's.
That's the way you're driving it.
It's got the usual stuff like removable wheel. But I am going to end up changing this to digital analogs gauges because I just find it's either the late model, the later AIMs or Motex, which are much clearer displays, or analogs. So I'm probably going to change.
Absolutely amazing. And you've got your standard hoop that comes with it, but I've seen pictures. You have a track cage as well, or was that on an earlier iteration?
A full cage, yeah.
They can have a removable cage on it, so it bolts in there. You take the hoop off the back, and it bolts on the back.
That's handy having the removable one. I've not seen that on many cars.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I found it a little bit because one of the stories about this car is like, and me in particular is, okay, she's on semi slicks, and the cornering speeds or cornering forces are quite high, and I found I actually developed motion sickness, so I can only go to certain types of tracks without throwing up. In the end, I just took the cage off because I wasn't going to the track enough to warrant having the cage on the car. You do notice it stiffens up the car quite a bit. Like I even noticed it just driving.
On any 7, it's the cockpit and the center section where you're going to get it flexing. It won't be at the front, it won't be at the rear. Always on the center section.
Yeah, they and I noticed it just driving up the road, leaving the factory. So it's cool, but it's also kind of raises things up quite high. Your overall drag, like the top speed of the track at Hampton Downs, I just noticed it easily dropped probably 15 Ks off the top speed. But super fun. And you drive around in the thing and everybody's looking at you, and it's a bit serious for the road. They're looking at you more. They're always looking at you. I didn't really expect that when I got it, like how many people were looking at you. So
but in a friendly way, isn't it, Rowan? They look at you in a friendly way as opposed to in a
as opposed to you, right? Anyway.
Yeah.
I'd like to bring Carey into the picture just for a moment. Carey, can you tell us or at least tell us what you see as the difference between that iteration of the Fraser and yours?
They're completely different cars. Just in power, I've got a MX-5 1800 with Gen V throttle bodies, the BP4W motor, which apparently is slightly better if you're having an MX-5 motor. But mine puts out 133 horsepower at the wheels. So just performance is completely different right from the start.
But it's still fun, of course. And do you use it on the track as well?
Pardon?
Do you use it on the track as well?
I have done. Been using it more for touring, really. We've done 2 trips around the South Island, 2 weeks at a time, which is quite interesting in a car that size with all your luggage. And there's another trip coming up in 2 or 3 weeks. We're going down to Napier for a week because there's an Art Deco festival down there. So there'll be myself and a whole lot of Cobras again and a couple of GT40s. We'll head down there. But the car is completely different. Mine's probably more a touring car. Escort axle with a Quaife ATV limited slip diff. It's not as performance oriented. Spec shocks sitting on the outside. It's just a completely different chassis, different car.
And how old would yours car be?
Well, I've had it on the road. Well, I had it about 5 years now. It took me 2 years to put it together. But in putting it together, I bolted the big bits in, and then got the professionals at Fraser's to do all the hard bits. I put the wiring together, and then was really pleased when it took Pete just a couple of hours to check that I'd done it all properly. I did all the brake lines, and then they needed to redo
don't
some
talk
of
to
them.
me and Jim about wiring. I am absolutely clueless.
A lot of cars come back at that stage.
Yeah,
I started
absolutely.
the wiring. Leave it to you.
Yeah.
Well, this is the perfect segue to bring Ida back in, because I want to ask you, when a person purchases a Fraser, is there any self-build options available?
Absolutely. So you can do everything yourself you want. We do all the engineering and obviously manufacturing and engineering to make sure everything's just right, and it's pretty much a bolt together exercise.
Oh, very cool.
I think you were saying you can export kits as well. Anywhere in
Yes, we do.
world?
We've got cars, Frasers in Australia, and a lot of Frasers in Japan.
Yeah, that's what.
And in America.
Yeah, I know that we have at least one Fraser owner from Japan, a lovely lady. She's part of our group, and she absolutely loves it. She absolutely loves it. Absolutely. I'm going to bring Rowan back in.
Mm-hmm.
Rowan, what an amazing car. So is this your daily driver? I know that just before we went online, you were moving the vehicle back and forth in the shed there, and then you're touching. I had asked you about the exhaust manifold, and you just were touching. You said, "Oh, that's still warm." So I presume you're out driving it today. Is that right?
Oh no! I just turned it around. I just turned it, went out down the street, turned it around.
Okay,
no,
cool.
This is not a daily driver. I'm sure you could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had other fun cars as dailies. My current daily is a GR Yaris. So it's quite interesting, the difference between the two cars. And previously, before that, an RS7 twin turbo was the daily.
Nice, yeah.
Which it's fascinating to see the differences between this and those types of machines. Like the RS7 would get off the line really quickly. This would be faster once you're underway, because getting off the line with this amount of power is something else. But this is like the machine that scares the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Like there is no other way of putting it that you have to be so careful.
I'm the same with our car, and every time I get into it, and I take my boys out on it, I always say to them, "Look, give me 5 minutes to get my head round it," because jumping from a daily car into a 7 and the amount of power it can put down, you've really got to get your head round it, and you've really got to be concentrating. As I say, my driving skills aren't that brilliant, but yeah, just brilliant fun.
Like the demonstrator that I drove first is a 1.64 AGE, and that's super fun. And but compared to your big twin turbo JDM cars that I had before, like they just don't quite have that same level of acceleration. And so I went, okay, I want something really quick, and didn't really there's not a lot of things that you go on that will be quicker than this in terms of power to weight. So it's quite I think the first month after I got it, like every time you were getting in it and you're just about shaking getting out of the car. And now I'm used to it, I'm fine. But you take other people and they get out and their hands are just doing this after getting in the car. Like, what just happened? But it's especially on the slicks, semi slicks, you have to be quite careful. Once the tires go off, then it becomes a pretty big handful. But
are they right in the wet as well, semi slicks, or?
Oh, I don't go out in the wet in this.
No, I was gonna say, most of the 7 don't. I know we don't, but yeah.
So this is running.
Lousy in the snow, I might add.
Yeah, so this is running. Running what's called Nankang AR1s, which are
yeah.
It's Toyo stock.
Good tires.
Yeah, what else can I tell you? So like point to point, like my GR Yaris would be like, if you're unfamiliar with the roads, you'd probably be faster on the GR Yaris. This you'd have, if you knew the roads and put some brake pills on, then this would be faster, absolutely faster.
Yeah.
And quite frightening getting there, in a good way.
A very, very good way.
Yeah. An enjoyable way. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always enjoyable as long as the back is not where the front should be.
Yeah, it's
Well, I think
pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's like everybody thinks that you just have wheel spin in all three gears, and like once everything's up to temperature, you'll get some wheel spin in first gear, and you might get it in second gear depending on the surface. Just in a straight line. Obviously, corners a bit different. So once they're hot, depending on the surface, you're pretty good.
Yeah.
But once they're cold, or the cold surfaces, and there's one person who shall remain nameless, and Ida and Carey will probably laugh when I talk about it. There's one person who's got a turbo-powered Fraser of a particular engine, of a particular horsepower, and had a moment at over 200 Ks, and promptly put the car away for a long while. So you got to be careful about road temperatures and tire temperatures, because they do make a massive difference to grip levels.
I think this is what I say to my boys as well. When I drive mine, obviously I've got my sons in it. I do drive it sensibly. I know my driving limit skills. I have had people pull up with what we called lowered saxo cars and performance boys. I've had them pull up to me at lights and start revving their engine. I just look at my sons. I start revving back, and then when the lights change, they set off in a cloud of smoke. I just set off normally. I don't need to prove anything. Yeah.
I think with our cars too, like from my perspective, I watch our guys hand form these cars. Like, they're just artists, and we put so much love into every single car that we handcraft that hours and hours and hours of hammering and making these beautiful works of art. And I know that our owners really respect how much time and attention to detail it takes to make these, let alone to own these machines. There are a lot of respect.
It's just down to respect at the end of the day. If you want to set off like a hooligan, go on a track. Don't do it on the road.
Oh, hey, I'm all in for having fun, but keep it safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like to give you an idea, like that. So Bruce would have hand formed just that little bit there to make that nice and tidy. It's a bit dirty at the moment, and things like to give me a bit more space in the wheel well is like a nicely hand formed divot from a clutch foot. So the work that went into this is absolutely insane. And I compared to the other company I'm talking about at the start of the call. And that comes with money, right? Like this build was not cheap, and would not be cheap today at all, because everything's gone up in price.
Compared to a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, it's really cheap, though, isn't it, Rowan? You get a pretty great performance.
It would murder a Ferrari as well. Absolutely murder it. Yeah.
And looks infinitely cooler on the curb, doesn't it?
Well, I think we're all slightly biased.
Yeah.
But I didn't quite have the appreciation for how much work goes into it. Like, you conceptually know how much work goes into something, but until you actually see which is probably a little segue to why there's a little logo on the wall.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot about even mentioning that. So in the process of getting this car,
is that your garage or is that your living room? Because you've got carpet down.
it's trust me, it's the garage. It's the garage.
Wow. Mine's nothing like that.
Neither is mine.
Seems to be the thing now with a lot of modern house builds in New Zealand. Like the garages are built into the houses, and you get this nice carpet. In the process of getting the car built, like I started getting the first sort of like Ida would send me here's some photos and email this week of what was going on, and I thought, oh, this could be done a whole lot better. Not just doing anything
Thanks,
wrong.
Rowan.
No. In terms of systems, I'm like, why isn't there a system for collating all of these photos and videos? Because you want like a timeline of your build. So, in the process of getting this car built, I ended up building a software system called Global Workshop, which allows car and now boat and warbird companies, of all things, to keep their owners informed via an app that lets the boys on the factory floor easily take photos and videos. Ida can then go and approve it, and then instantly go to the owners and their own sort of client portal and apps. So going through this car, I've ended up building a software company that is now getting used by some of the best in the industry. So the likes of Eagle, we just put their logo up on our website 3 months ago. Eagle E-Types over in the UK. Our main market is the UK. So we've got a bunch of restoration and resto mod and fabrication companies now using it, and it's going through to full workshop software. So project time, job management, which is quite cool. So this car has ended up kind of changing the direction of a few things for me. So Global Workshop.
I was going to say, just from ordering a Fraser, you're now into software and developing software for other people to use. That's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, well, I was running a software company, and kind of saw, being a developer, and just saw that there was this need for good software that's very visual. Because once I gave it to Ida, it's like every Thursday I'll be driving home in Canada, and then 5 o'clock I get a little alert from the factory. I'm not looking at that while I'm driving home at all, but I can see what's coming, and make the people who are building these lives easier, because they're not flying around files and resizing things and figuring out how to do videos. It's all on the apps and their phones. So
have you got a link that you could send to Jim that we can put up in this post once it goes up on 7 Spot?
You mean one like that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Easy.
There we go. Jim is always one step ahead of me. He annoys me.
Yeah, so that's it. So actually, that's one of the first photos was a company called Retro Power, who which you saw in one of those photos there. They do these amazing resto mods, and so if you haven't seen their channel, go subscribe to Retro Power, because they do a weekly kind of what's going on in the factory, which is, if you like this stuff, you'd love that. Like Dawn Trader, who do Formula One and IndyCar restorations, all sorts. So, which has been quite a cool little journey. So
absolutely,
we'll have a look at that.
Absolutely.
But I wonder if it'd make any sense to have a look at the good people at Fraser Sports Cars as well. I think if people are interested in starting their own Fraser Adventure, they may want to go to this page and then have a look, and then give Ida a call.
Oh, thanks, Jim. That would be wonderful.
And I'll go on record and say, like, the Fraser experience was awesome. They are unique. What they say and what is true is they're unique to the owners. So while there's base kits and base packages, ultimately no Fraser is the same as another. Everybody chooses their particular types of engines, and then kind of as you're going through the process, what is the level of fit and finish you want? The work that went on in here is just incredible.
It's basically bespoke engineering, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's a
always
friendly bunch
say,
of
and a
people
lot of
too.
us always say it as well. That a kit car is never finished because you get it together, get it on the road. You think, well, I might upgrade that, I might do this, might do that. So it's never-ending story.
Until you run out of money.
Yeah.
yeah.
You just buy smaller
this
bits.
one, aside from
Yeah, but by the way,
couple-
Joe, I put my 2 boys up for sale.
Well, I think there's a few of us who've got our Frasers done who are actually like we got the level that we wanted.
Yeah.
Like out of the factory, don't need to do anything more, no upgrades, no nothing, and you're just that's it. That's the car I want, and you don't have to fiddle it, right? Like this.
Yeah.
There's a couple of teething problems which you'd expect on a build of this nature. Like you can't do
always is,
a single shot. But I haven't sit here and gone, oh, I think I should upgrade this and I think I should upgrade that. It's just perfect, and dealing with the factory is awesome, and they become mates, and so you become part of the Fraser family.
It's the Fraser experience, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's quite different, quite unique, and wouldn't trade it for the world. What I did and what I got out of it, and lifelong friends with the factory. So
yeah, I will say this as the fly on the wall in a different country. At 7 Spot, we have a lot of Fraser people, and they are quite universal in 2 things: the Fraser experience that comes from the factory in having their car made, and then they're so fiercely proud of what they've got. They are a wonderful community unto themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as Rowan said, and I echo, so many people have dreamt about owning a car like this their entire lives, or most of their adult life. So if you have a dream, we just love fulfilling that. There's nothing better than fulfilling people's dreams. So we feel very fortunate to do what we do.
Yeah. Well, guys, I'd love to stay on forever. Carey, do you have any questions or anything you'd like to add?
No, I think Rowan's covered it pretty much. I would like to say that the whole experience of dealing with Frasers has always been really good.
Yeah.
As you know, my car is so much different from Rowan's car, but there's lots of other people with really good cars, and they are all different. We've all had a hand in them, different levels of input and skill in our skill, like my skill, not the Fraser guys. And you can always fall back on them if you don't know something, or just drop the car in. They've been really, really good to deal with. So it's it's been wonderful. And then the community.
That's what we found in the
I haven't
UK.
seen Rowan for ages
without MK.
Yeah, everybody knows everybody else. There's Fraser guys, all over, all over New Zealand and Australia. But everybody sort of knows, and you keep track of the cars. Like Jed's car's just been sold. It'd be interesting to find out where that's gone on to.
And I'm going to bring Ida back in. And I am going to say, Ida, thank you so much for making the time. I know that you've got a busy household and you've got a family as well as a business. So thank you so much. I'm going to put the links to the Global Workshop and, of course, to Fraser Cars in the description part of this video. But I wanted to say thank you personally. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having us. And it's just so exciting to speak to our Fraser owners. It always is. So nice to see you guys. Thank you. And nice to meet you, Jim, and you, John. Appreciate having you.
I'm gonna bring Rowan. Rowan, lean back in. Lean back in. That was perfect.
All right.
Well, you got a good torso shot there. You have to lean over a little bit. There we go. Even better.
Are you going to start it up?
There we go.
There we go.
Are we going to fire it up before we go?
Oh shit. Okay, yes we are. Hang on.
Or have I just made that awkward?
No, we'll fire it up. Hang on.
Do I have to turn my volume down now then?
No, he's got the boring muffler on now, so you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Boring muffler.
But controversial. I like them loud.
Absolutely.
Don't die of carbon monoxide poisoning.
Feel posh. Oh yeah. That
So I
sounds
can't hear
lovely.
it playing, but...
Lovely.
And now I have to clean the cupboards because I'm going to get in trouble. So,
So
Yes.
everyone, and John included, I'm going to say you've given us the better part of an hour. We've been going for 51 minutes.
Blimey.
And
It's
I'm
gone
going to
so
say
quick.
thanks a lot to everybody. It's absolutely fabulous. This is the first opportunity to chat to some Fraser people, and I know there's going to be more opportunities to chat. So who knows? You might get called back.
excellent.
Perfect.
Thanks for having us.
I'm
All
gonna
right,
go
guys.
clean the
It's
cupboards
been
before I
brilliant
get in trouble.
speaking to you guys. Thank you so much. Excellent. Thank you.
So, guys, thanks an
Thanks,
awful
guys.
lot. And what I always say at the end is, we will see you at 7 Spot. Thanks for doing this with us, and we'll see you again.
Yeah. Be seeing you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.